One thing I know for sure, it will end. It will not go on forever. At some point, there will be a vaccine. At some point, there will be a return to normal. And when that does happen, this will seem like the distant past.
Hi, I'm Susanna. I'm the editor-in-chief and publisher of Chicago Magazine and a longtime friend of Mellody Hobson, who is the co-CEO of Ariel Investments and a huge philanthropist. And I'm so happy that you're joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I am thrilled to be here.
I wanted to ask you, you joined the COVID-19 task force for the city of Chicago, and that seems like a great role for you because you're such a philanthropist. Why did you decide to join that, and what are you going to be doing?
Certainly, I believe that we all have a role to play. This is when it's all hands on deck moment for humanity, and whatever we can do, we should. So when the mayor asked me to join, I felt that was very important to say yes. I love Chicago more than any other place and wanted to be there for my city to help it recover.
And are you going to be working on economic recovery, job recovery, those sorts of initiatives? Because that seems like something that you are so tailor-made for.
I think that will go under the auspice of the committee, yes. Recovery economically, which of course means jobs and Chicago businesses, etc.
I saw in an interview last week that you said that for the future of the economy, you feel like there's reason to be optimistic.
The market anticipates the future. So I think in some ways what the market is telling us, it's telegraphing a recovery. We don't know how long this is going to go on, so I don't want to make it seem like I have some crystal ball and I'm predicting the end of this or anything like that. It could get worse before it gets better. But the one thing I know for sure, it will end. It will not go on forever. I think a lot of us, just as a default, we anchor to the now. And we really have to look past this period and understand at some point there will be a vaccine. At some point, there will be a return to normal. And when that does happen, this will seem like the distant past.
As optimists, I'm one of those too, because every day I don't know how I would function if I didn't think this was going to end and it is going to get better. That's kind of...
It's just a fact, though. I mean, it's not something that actually is in question. A vaccine will be developed at some point. You have literally the greatest scientific minds and pharmaceutical companies in the world working on this globally.
You were named to our list of Chicago's most powerful women. You've been on a lot of lists like this, by the way. We're not the only ones who put you on lists. And one of the things we've been asking some of the women on the list is for an anecdote about a turning point in their lives and how they found their power. So I'm curious if you can look back, was there a moment at Princeton or in your early career that you would say kind of mobilized you?
You know, if you ask my mother, who's no longer alive, or my siblings, they would say I came out of the womb this way. I was odd from the start. I know that sounds probably not that believable, but it's really true. I used to take the school bus to school, and when I was in second grade, my school bus got into a car accident. And it was a really bad car accident. I had this commitment to never be late for school or to miss school. I'm in second grade.
Wow.
And I got off the bus and walked to school. And so the bus, they couldn't find me. And so they're in the scramble of where is she? And I was already at school. That would be like a perfect example of like, I will not wait to be rescued. I will not stay here and wait for this. I have to get to school. I remember distinctly, the accident was on Chicago and State. And my school was the Ogden School down on State and Walton. And I remember distinctly just knowing it's a few blocks away. I can make it. Why is everyone sitting here? And just in all of the fuss of the police and everything else, just getting off the bus and walking to school. A 7-year-old who understood their power was to go to school if that's what they wanted. And that said a lot about me.
I know that you've been chairing After School Matters for the last few years, and this spring you were supposed to have the Pullman Center opening. Is that still happening this year? It is.
Yes,
good.
It will still happen this year. We're very, very excited about it. It's going to be fantastic. And it'll be a track and field facility for all of Chicago area high school students to have track meets, etc. We do not, in the city of Chicago, have an indoor facility for runners. And so that's where this idea was born. We're very excited about that opportunity. We expect to have about 2,500 teens at that facility at any time during the year. And they'll have everything from a chef's kitchen to sports inside of the facility. It will be state of the art. It'll be really neat and much, much, much needed in that Pullman area.
I always love your optimism and your kind of charge forward view of the world. When we look back on this time that we're living through right now, what do you think will be a positive effect from it?
I don't see how you go through this period without some significant self-reflection. For me, that self-reflection just leads to greater appreciation and gratitude. And so I think one of the silver linings of coming out of something that is so harrowing is that you get even more perspective. You know, we all have our moments of complaining. We've got cabin fever, etc. But, you know, I start with just a very simple premise. I'm on the right side of the dirt. Let's just start there. I think you can't come away from this without having that gratitude, understanding the fleeting nature of life, that something this invisible could actually kill you. And that it has, you know, some people have been in perfect health and not done well. I also think for the better, we come back as a society with more empathy. The humanity that I think we've all seen is just truly moving. I mean, I can barely watch the news without, you know, tears running down my cheeks to see what the human spirit is all about. That just gives me so much hope about society in a time that does feel very dark.
I want to ask you one last question. As you've been sheltering in place, like, you're the busiest woman maybe in America.
That's not true.
Have you picked up any hobbies, or are you like baking bread suddenly? Are you doing anything because you suddenly find yourself at home more?
Okay, I am not baking bread suddenly. I'm not that person. I just want to be, it probably wouldn't go well. But the one thing that has shocked a lot of people is my husband always went out to breakfast every morning. Now that we're home, I make breakfast every single day for him and my 6-year-old. And my 6-year-old is easy because her eating habits are very specific and they're always the same. But my husband, I've made breakfast every day and people are shocked. And I'm like, any kind of eggs however you want them, I could make them.
You're like a short order cook now?
So I'm taking pictures of poached eggs, fried eggs, scrambled eggs, you know, all these egg combinations and showing them. And they're like, you actually have skills. And then I tell them, somewhat facetiously, but very much rooted in my beliefs. I was like, you know, Black people, we are hustlers. We can figure anything out. My breakfast making skills are a new addition to my life. I do that every day.
I love that. Well, maybe when this is all over, that will stay.
Possible. I think he really does miss sitting in at his table and reading his papers the way he reads them. But for now, I think I'm a very good substitute.
That's great. That's great. And if all else fails, you can always be a short order cook.
That's right. We've already talked about that. You know, it's good to have a backup plan.
Yeah.
I can make a good sandwich, a whole bunch of things I can do.
I so appreciate your time. I know how busy you are, and it's lovely to talk to you. You know, I knew that you would lift my spirits because that is just who you are. You're sunshine. And, you know, I'm so thrilled that you're sharing that with us. And I'm glad you're on the team of people who is working toward finding solutions for Chicago.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for recognizing me. Thank you for all of the work that you do to shine a light on such good work throughout Chicago. I am one of your fans, and I was excited to engage with you. So thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.